Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back with another power video. The topic of today's theory is we're going to speculate more on the fact that Ghost is alive and he's making moves behind the scenes. The topic of today's theory is Ghost is obviously alive. Otherwise, Tariq would have been kicked out of Stansfield as recently as the very last season of Power Book 2 Ghost. As well as we're going to speculate on the fact of, did Tariq even leave Stansfield? What will be his reasons to leave Stansfield? And what will be his reasons to still stay in Stansfield right now? This can all leak into Power Legacy. So go ahead, like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new here. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right, now, y'all, let's break it down like this. So when I say that Ghost's been alive, or else Tariq would have been kicked out of Stansfield, I want to say it like this, right? The reason why Tariq ended up in Stansfield in the beginning, right, was a favor by Simon Stern. Now, in exchange for, what was it, some properties or something like that, Tariq was granted access, he was granted enrollment in Stansfield, but also Simon Stern told Tariq about Freaky Zeke. And he told him, he said, hey, listen, you need to tutor this guy. Do whatever you can to make sure that he passes. You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to go pro and he's a representative of this school, right? One specific thing that he said was, if Zeke doesn't play, you don't stay. Boom. Now, of course, with all that being said, things transpire. Of course, we know who the Tejada family is. We know what was Zeke's demise, right? So, Zeke dies at the end of season 2. We get season 3 and everything's going on. We still have 2 more seasons where Tariq was never even contacted by Stansfield. Never contacted by Simon Stern. He done got arrested outside of Stansfield and everything. Nothing happened to Tariq. Plenty motive for Tariq to be kicked out of Stansfield, which is a prestigious, very prestigious Ivy League school. Tariq doesn't get kicked out. For less than everything that Tariq been through on that campus, anyone else would have been kicked out, right? You seen what was about to happen to Lauren when all they did was find what? A joint? Maybe they found a couple pills too, but I believe they might have just found a joint in a dorm room. We all seen what happened with that, right? At the end of the day, you can say it's plot armor. That's just how the writers wrote it. But we also got to understand Ghost armor, right? Tariq has Ghost armor. The only reason why Tariq is still in Stansfield, and yes, I believe he's still in Stansfield, and I'm going to explain why, right? We can debate that, or we can question these things after I make this point, but the only reason why he's still in Stansfield is because Simon Stern is alive and well, and he's doing business in Miami and overseas with Ghost. Now, I was going to make a whole video on this one aspect, but I'm going to include this, right? There's a possibility that Ghost is overseas with Simon Stern right now, doing business, right? Business that we will find out about. As y'all can see, right, with the introduction of Noma and Chinadu and how Tariq ended up at the end of season 4, Power is taking things statewide, but also beyond the states and overseas. So when we know that towards the end of OG Power, we were seeing Simon Stern less and less, but we know for sure, definitively, that he was overseas doing stuff. What's not to say that Ghost planned his death, or even if he didn't plan to fake his death, he survived and then got in contact with Simon Stern, and Simon Stern says, "You're the most valuable nigga I know. I'm going to make sure you get a private flight to wherever I'm at. I'm going to make sure you have the best doctors to help you on your recovery. And we're going to get back to making this money and handling this business, right? I'm talking about full expansions of Club Truth all throughout the United Kingdom, places like Dubai, right? All other kinds of places like UK and all types of other places, right? That people like Simon Stern like to go. We're talking about maybe like Amsterdam. We also know he's a gay man, so like different gay districts like all over like the world, right? All different places. There's unlimited possibilities of the amount of business that Simon Stern could be doing with Ghost. And we know for sure that they also consider each other to be friends. Simon Stern first said to Ghost, stay away from Tate. I'm your only friend in this. And towards the end of OG Power, Ghost also told Simon Stern, hey, I'll let you know, friend. Or I'll be in contact with you, friend. I'm paraphrasing. But he called him his friend. So I say that to say this. The reason why we know that Ghost is alive, or we can speculate that Ghost is alive, for the simple fact that Tariq is still in Stansfeild. Still in Stansfeild. Mind you, he lost his money. He can't pay for it. He had the grind to pay for his tuition, but he didn't get kicked out after everything that happened. Simon Stern, who got a lot of pull with that school, he wouldn't have to come to America in order to have Tariq removed from campus. That's just a phone call, right? Simon Stern could have easily called and said, hey, get Tariq St. Patrick out of here. He got arrested. He's making the school look bad, right? We know Braden got removed from the school. Braden got kicked out, or rather his father took him out, but you seen what happened when he disgraced his family name. He walking on campus still, they scraping the Western name off of the building, putting a different name on the building, right? The reason why Tariq is still in Stansfield is because Ghost Ghost asked Simon Stern as a favor to keep Tariq in the school. Why? Because then it's easier to have access to Tariq's business. It's easy for Simon Stern to call the school, ask any teacher, anybody with some kind of authority within that school to keep a close eye on Tariq and the associates of Tariq. With people like Junior Young being killed and everything inside that school, right? You got opportunities for Ghost to have Simon Stern reach out to different cops and police and everything. There's an unlimited amount of possibilities and reasons to why Ghost would ask Simon Stern to allow Tariq to remain in the school. And now for people who would say that Tariq left school, you're probably saying that because of the conversation that Tariq had with Tommy, where Tommy was like, you got to make a choice. You going to be a scholar or you going to be a trapper? You're going to be a drug kingpin. Because the moment you hesitate, you dead. We know Tommy told Tariq this, but here's the thing. Tommy don't have all the extra advantages that Tariq has. Tariq has the capabilities to blend in between both worlds, right? While still primarily being a drug kingpin. And the reason why he would do it is because every drug dealer, every drug kingpin needs an alibi. So how would it look to the feds who are already interested in Tariq if Tariq was in school, been through everything, and then he just suddenly leaves school? And then whenever they happen to get a whiff of him, he's driving a fancy car. Or he got his mother ended up in a real nice house after she was struggling in Witsec. How would that look to the feds? Right? Y'all know how Frank Lucas went down. Nobody knew the amount of money he was getting until he showed up to that fight, right? And he had on that fur coat. Tariq is smart enough to realize, I gotta keep a cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to look like the struggling scholar at school, struggling to make my way. Even if he's gonna have a job at the school and still make it look like he's struggling, he still has to find a way to make it look like he's not making the hundreds of thousands and going into millions that he's going to be making. Otherwise, he'd be stupid. Otherwise, he didn't learn from the mistakes of the others that came before him, right? He's sharp enough to know, hey, listen, even Ghost had a way to make things look a certain way. And where it is Tariq is still too young to be rushing into establishing all these businesses and all of that to make it look good on his real estate portfolio as an explanation to where his money's coming from. So he would use Stansfeild still as a cover, which is why I believe he's still in school, for those of you who are questioning whether he's still in school or not. He plans to leave, but he's not leaving yet. Another thing I want to say is that when Tariq is walking in the park and he gets that phone call, which assumingly is from Tariq, which assumingly is from Tommy, look at the background, right? What it looks like, maybe Central Park or something. But one could say he's not too far from the school campus when this conversation is had. One could say that, right? But anyways, that's my theory. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's God get that. That's touch my ink. That's on the dome, nigga.